It's grad season. Hey guys, what's up? It's imuRgency and welcome back to my channel. Today, as you can tell from the title, we are here to talk about Grownish Season 4, which is the graduation season of this show. If you've been here for a while, you may know that over a year ago, I made an initial Grownish review reaction video, which you should definitely check out if you haven't already. But now I feel like the show has changed so much, and it's its graduation era, and as you can probably tell, it's also my graduation era, so I'm like, might as well take another look at the show because things are very interesting. So in this video, we're talking Grownish Season 4, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the... I tried to think of something clever there, but nothing was coming up. But before we get into anything, if you are new to the channel, then definitely hit that subscribe button and also leave a like on this video because that helps out so much with the algorithm. And actually, you know what? I'll give you some time to do it while I practice moving my tassel from left to right. Or right to left? I don't know. Do it anyway, I'm graduating, so that's your grad gift to me. Are you done? Cool, because so am I. Also, really quick, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok because I will be posting graduation content there. So you should go check that out. But Grownish Season 4. This season was a ride. This season was definitely a ride. I mentioned in my last Grownish video that I really enjoyed how realistic Grownish felt in some aspects, while also really getting annoyed and frustrated with the aspects that just really did not make sense. Like, how is this possible? Like, for one, the everyday fashion of the people on campus at PWI. Yeah, I don't know. But I feel like a lot of these criticisms definitely transferred over to this season and in some aspects kind of got worse. So as we know, if you've seen Grownish before, you know this is a messy show. Like, this is meant to be like a family friendly-ish, like curse words are censored type beat, but people are still getting it in, still getting real messy. And honestly, in their senior year, I'd hope that there'd be some growth and like people wouldn't be as messy, but that unfortunately is just not the case. Like, we started the season in Mexico because the group is having their last vacation together. And honestly, this really sets the tone for the rest of the season because for one, the season, in my opinion, is truly all over the place. And two, it got very dramatic and messy. Like, honestly, at this point, I'm wondering how these people are all collectively still friends because just in the vacation scene alone, they just are dragging each other and fighting with each other. And the things that they are saying are very deep cuts. Like, Anna and Nomi really get into it and they exchange some very harsh words. I think at one point, Anna says that Nomi is like a bad single mom or whatever. And Nomi comes back and exposes like some secrets about her relationship with Javi, and I'm just like, how are y'all friends? And then from that, everyone is just airing out their grievances with each other, and it's just rude. It's literally just rude, and I don't think anyone ever like says that they didn't mean what they said. They just said that they're sorry that they said it. Like, how are y'all still friends after 4 years? How is a whole friend group still friends with each other, even though every other episode y'all seem to hate each other? And let me not even get into the interloping in the friend group, because I feel like everyone in this friend group is just taking turns getting with each other. Because I'm like, let me get this straight. How does Zoe get with both Aaron and Luca? Doug get with Jazz? Vivek get with Anna? Like, are there such things as like a platonic friend group? Like, why are y'all constantly getting with each other? Like, that just doesn't sit right with me, but that's a whole nother conversation. Over the course of the season, we see the cast gear up for graduation because graduation is imminent and they have a bunch of different events that transpire in between the start of senior year and the end of it. And this part sort of falls into the whole realism aspect of the show. This season and just the show as a whole tries to cover a lot. Like, it tries to cover a lot. Like, it's one of those shows that tries to mirror real life a little bit too accurately. Well, actually, I don't know if accurately is the right word, but like, they try to fit a lot of real world stuff into 18 episodes for the sake of like relatability and stuff, but I don't feel like it translated well. Like, Grownish is one of the only shows that actually mentions and includes a mini storyline about COVID. Like, they mention how they went on like a COVID break, but for them it was like shortened because somehow they left the beginning of their senior year and still came back on their senior year. I don't really understand how that whole thing works, but I'm not sure if I really enjoyed having that in there. Like, I get the point of relatability and like realism being like, oh wow, they're just like us, like they're living in the same world. But I feel like what television has been doing with like not mentioning that as like a constant reminder of the biggest thing that's collectively happened to every single person on this planet has been like generally nice because it's a form of like escapism in a sense. And if this is trying to portray like a ideal world, because it is trying to portray like a realistic but like an idealized version of the realistic world, maybe they could have like skipped over that. But not only does this season try and tackle COVID and then completely forget forget about it afterwards. I mean, realistic. But they also delve pretty deeply into police brutality. They bring up topics of like in the family, as well as breaking down and trying to deconstruct sexuality and queerness in the Black community, which, if that sounds like a lot, it is. It definitely felt like, oh, we're tackling this now? We're talking about, all right, oh, wow, yeah. Okay, all right. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this in my last video, but a positive to like this sort of realism of taking on real issues and putting them in these shows is that it does provide that perspective for people who might not be getting that otherwise. And one thing that I do appreciate is that for some of these issues that they bring up, it's like not just like a one episode thing and they're done. Like you see like the impacts a little bit later. Like with the whole police brutality era, like you see everyone sort of transform from that. Like Zoe, who was initially more ignorant to like the systemic issues that affect Black people in this country, becomes more aware of that, and you see her take that knowledge throughout the rest of the season. You especially see Doug become more active and become more of a participating character in like the story, which is nice because it shows that it wasn't just in there to just like be in there and be like, oh my god, we mentioned this topic, like, you know? And I feel like going along that theme, like this season was the season where I feel like we saw the most growth out of everyone, or out of most characters, I would say. Like for example, the character that I feel like grew definitely the most this season was Vivek. Like he got caught for drugs, he got kicked out of the school, he got arrested, and then had to work on changing his whole life around. And then at the end of the season, his dad passes away. So like this year was really sad for Vivek, but is actually realistic to the story for a lot of people of like not having your life go according to what plans you initially had for yourself. And you see him constantly trying to work towards that, and you can see how he's going to become a different, better person moving forward after graduation. And then we also have Anna, I forget how you say it, I've been alternating. I'm gonna say Anna now. Anna comes to terms with the fact that her old worldview may not represent her anymore, and she may not necessarily support all the things she used to support, which is honestly good for her because she's starting to see more sides to life, and I love that for her. Also, side note, her ex-boyfriend Hobby, I'm so glad they broke up because that man got under my skin. Like that man, y'all, like he was really truly trying to lock up a 17-year-old and get him deported over a mistake. Like something's not right with that man. Something is not right with that man, and honestly it's better that they broke up. I'll say it. Next on the growthometer. Ew. No. Wow. Next character that I noticed growth from, there we go, is Nomi. And Nomi this season really just learns to become more trusting and allow other people to surprise her, you know? Because this season, the father of her daughter comes back into her life after kind of icing her out for like the first year of her daughter Luna's life. And just learning to work and coordinate with that while also transitioning into this next phase of her life post-grad. I just really like to see that. Nomi did get on my nerves a bit this season just because they also did decide to break into white fragility, and let's just say, Nomi girlie, you were pretty fragile.
Part of a long-standing history of racist thinking.
Hold on, Zoe. Racist thinking? So you're calling me a racist? Are you kidding me?
Girl, no! And finally, the character that I feel like grew a whole bunch was Jazz. And Jazz pretty much just learned how to become more of an individual and also be more open-minded, because she starts talking to Dez, who is a queer man who doesn't fit into her mold and worldview of how a man should dress or act. Dez is definitely inspired by Lil Nas X in the fact that he tends to wear dresses and just really break outside the gender norms, which she has trouble understanding but eventually comes around to. Jazz also starts to realize that she may or may not be mentally ill, so that's a whole learning curve for her. She just really just learns to like better herself, and I really love that for the cast. But that can't be said for every single character, because there are some characters that I feel that have not changed substantially since they were introduced, or since last season. I'll give them that. And the three of those characters, in my opinion, are Zoe, Luca, and Aaron. Zoe bestie. Zoe this season really just isn't doing too much. Like what does she do? Like Zoe continuously gets herself into the same problems and same mistakes. And honestly, I forget her character's name, but the actor is Daniela Perkins and she's on the show this season. Love her. She calls Zoe out perfectly by saying that like she constantly drags people into her drama. It's the same drama every season, mind you. And then just pretends to like learn from it, but then continues to do the exact same thing over and over again. Like for example, the love triangle drama. We've seen this before. We've seen this multiple times before, where she goes back and forth between Aaron and Luca. And Luca is a different beast, which we'll get into. And just spends so much time going back and forth with those two. And ultimately has her whole final year shift from whatever she initially intended because of them. And I'm sick of them. They are a toxic trio. They are a toxic trio, I have to say. Like, how do you get married, divorced, broken up with, and then try and start another fling and have that flop all in one season? And Luca is a male menace, and I will not be accepting any other answers. Like, Luca is a male menace. The way that he took it upon himself to interfere in Zoe's life because he cared for her, like, he caused so much drama, and the entire second half wouldn't have transpired the way it did if it weren't for Luca and his behavior. And honestly, Luca has not changed since season 1, and maybe that's the point of his character, because I know they mentioned at the end of the last episode that he stuck to who he was, but he was really just like the same kind of guy from the very beginning, and I'm not sure how much I vibe with that. Like, you're supposed to grow and learn or whatever, but the only thing he really learned was that he didn't want what he thought he wanted. I mean, okay. And Aaron's so fine, I'm sorry. He's so fine. But he did decide in like the very last minute to better himself, but then goes back and does the exact same thing he was doing before. Like, how are you saying, Zoe, let's break up, I need to better myself? He does that a little bit, and then goes right back to Zoe, and then tries to bring Zoe with him on this giant trip to Africa. And then when she says no last minute, she's like, okay. And then a couple months later, we see him back in New York with Zoe. Like, what's going on? What is going on between these characters? I don't know. And the final thing I want to talk about is the final episode, the last episode, because I have such a big problem with this. I'm sorry. I am sorry. The last episode was anticlimactic, in my opinion. As someone who is also graduating, who grew up college-wise with this show, and as a show that is placed and focused on college and the college experience, I feel like the graduation episode was incredibly underwhelming. In my opinion, it felt kind of rushed, because how are you gonna spend the culmination of 4 seasons in a 20-minute episode? Actually, I don't know if it was a double feature or not, but it felt like 20 minutes. Not one person of the main cast walked across the stage. We just see them before celebrating their graduation, and then after, when half of them actually graduate. Zoe, we don't even get to see walk across the stage, and she's main character energy. And then afterwards, it's just like, okay, bye everybody, and then they leave. Like, they have a single sentimental moment where they're all like saying bye to each other, but I feel like that wasn't enough, you know? Like, I feel like it was just anticlimactic. Like, of course, I felt things when they're all saying goodbye, just because I'm in it right now, and I can see myself going through that in the very, 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 way too very distant future. Not distant future, recent future. I see myself doing that very soon. But maybe for someone who's not graduating, it just kind of seems like, oh, that's it? That's how we're done? And I think they're doing a 5th season, which is why they didn't make it like super, super, super sappy. But I wanted to see more. I just wanted some more. I wanted just a teensy bit more from Grownish. I'm sorry. Like, I feel like in a certain sense, it was some wasted potential. Like, we could have seen like a flash of like everyone walking across the stage, and like memories from like the past 4 years flash as they're walking across the stage. And then at the end, taking a group picture, you know, like that. I'm getting sad just thinking about it, y'all. Ooh, graduation is too soon. But yeah, I really just think that last episode could have been better. But overall, I have to say, the show hasn't been great. It has been really helpful and nice, like going through college and aging along with the show. Like, class of 2022, we kind of got lucky there, because it literally followed us step by step every single year. And I just really appreciate it because it made the college experience seem seen, and it's one of the few college shows that are out right now that show the college experience, and then also feature and headline people of color as like the forefront, which I really did enjoy. As I move forward and I graduate, I'm definitely gonna look back on Grownish as a show that like encapsulates that era of content. Again, I'm not 100% sure if they're doing a season 5. If they are doing a season 5 and it goes into the young adult life, honestly, good. Like, honestly, just follow me until I'm like grown, like until I'm like 30. Is that a lot? Yeah. But do I need a roadmap? Yeah, but that's pretty much it. That's my review on Grownish, y'all. I really hope you enjoyed. For all of the other students in the class of 2022 that are graduating from college or high school this year, congratulations, we did it. We really pushed through and got that degree, and I'm so proud of all of us. Special thanks to everyone that's been following me since I started doing college videos way back in 2017, 2018. It's a real full circle moment right now, being in like a cap and gown and doing like a show review, being like, yeah, it's over. But thank you so much for your continued support. It really does mean a lot to me. Again, if you're new to the channel, then hit that like button and turn on post notifications so you never miss when I post. Leave a like on this video, follow me on my socials here at imuRgency, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.